What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside Texas Pregame Show, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We're so happy to have them as a sponsor for us. It's really great to see you guys are coming in the chat already. I really love to see it. Some excitement. We've got our fellow Oklahoman here, our R. Jacob Woodyard's bringing it, and everybody's here. So this is great. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for enjoying our new graphic. We'll give it up for our friend Connor for doing that. I'm with Coach Dub today, and we've got young Evan with us. So great, guys. We just had the Mountain West. That was decisive.
Yeah.
And we're watching right now our former league be dominated by a brand new team. Let's start with the Mountain West, Coach. I know that you had a horse in this race.
Yeah. Red Zone Blues on the blue turf. The Smurf turf got us last night. Genty, he had a good game. That's why he's mentioned in the Heisman race, right? Boise State has had a hold of the Mountain West for I don't know how long, and so even though UNLV fought hard, man, program on the rise, they just couldn't get it done on the road last night. It was tough to see. It was tough to see. So, but hey, they fought, right? They had a chance at the end if they would have scored and kind of made the game a one-score game, but in the end, Boise State was just a little too much.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Boise that like you understand Genty's going to go off, get those 200, however many yards he's going to get, but that defensive line was pretty dominant, like 6 sacks. I think the number was in the game, and I think it could have been more than 7 points for UNLV, just how it worked out. But I think they look good going into the playoff, and they're in. They should be probably the 4 seed unless something changes with Arizona State.
I think it's hard to, and I'm just talking here, Coach, about UNLV is just the expectations, right? This wasn't an expectation for UNLV, so that's great. I think that's a positive side of things, but it still stings a little bit.
Yeah. Anybody inside the building is expectation, but everybody outside the building, you don't expect UNLV, who's pretty much been at the bottom maybe since the 80s or Randall Cunningham days, to expect the Rebels to be competing for the Mountain West Conference Championship, but. 2 years back to back, Coach Odomann's staff and everybody has gotten a chance to play it twice. Unfortunately, came up short twice versus Boise, but best school record in history with 10-2. We're now 10-3, and so with a chance to even raise that higher with winning a bowl game. So it's definitely a turnaround from where they've been, and so congrats for that. But yeah, nobody really outside of people in the building expected that one.
It's this is going to be, I think, a very telling few days. Now, am I right, Evan, that the actual playoff announcements are going to come out tomorrow? Is that accurate?
I'm actually not 100% sure. I thought they were going to do it on Tuesday again, but I might have that wrong. I haven't been keeping up.
Okay, yeah, well, we will check that out for you. But I think I was talking to Cookie earlier, and I thought he said we might know by Monday. So maybe he was just saying that the champions will be decided by that point, but we'll see. This former league, our Big 12 championship is, man, Bo Scatabo, man, how fun is that guy? He's just a ball of knives. He's so fun to watch.
I saw some tweet that was like, this guy's perfect for the Chiefs, with that video of him running 15 yards backwards, then throwing a heave just so he didn't lose the yardage and almost getting picked off by the defensive end. That was the stupidest play I've ever seen. But hey, it worked. It worked.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Papa. We've got a Selection Sunday at noon, so that's great. That's really helpful. I appreciate you guys doing that. And join us in the chat. I know we've got most of our folks over at Twitter, and we really appreciate you being there. If you do get a chance, come over to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe. It really does help us. We really do appreciate you being here. How are you watching this game, Coach? This SEC championship today? You've got the two girls going to be sitting either side. How's that going to work?
They'll love to, because they actually love watching football. But I think it's nap time. I need to watch just a little bit of peace, man. I got my nerves are kind of high. Big stakes riding on this.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But no, I'll sit here and I'll watch in the living room in front of the TV. I need the big screen. I usually let them have the TV. I watch on small TV, but not today. I need the big screen in the living room, and so yeah, I can't wait.
It's I don't know if you guys do this, but I will pace like patina into my floor. But throughout the game, I fool myself into thinking I can sit down for like 5 seconds and then I'm immediately up. I have to walk around. It's rough. It's rough in my house.
You get those jitters. I've had that for the A&M game. I was back home in DC, and it was the first time my friends from there like got to see me watch a Texas game, and they were like, "You stand up so much during these plays. I don't understand how you are so active during this."
I've reached a certain age where now I have a mantle, so I have something I can lean on, which is really helpful. For those of you that don't have a mantle, it's okay. It's an aspirational home item that I think everybody should look forward to. We've got RT Young is going to be joining us here in a second. And here he is. Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? How are you?
How are you doing, RT?
I'm great. I thought I would need to be turned around watching this Big 12 championship, but it is pretty terrible. So I'm facing the other direction, not even watching it.
But I do appreciate the copyright infringement that you're throwing on in the background. It's really helpful. There you go. Let's get over to some Texas stuff. I think the most important thing right now everybody is asking about is obviously what's happening with Kelvin, right? So let's look at this is the most recent injury report that came out around 1:45 Central. Some interesting things on this. For Georgia, Etienne is not on this document. And Kelvin Bakes Jr. is listed as a game time decision. He will be using the same ankle brace that Quinn used last week, but this is a big deal, y'all.
Yeah. It is. Look, I would say the ankle brace, thank you to the Notre Dame doctor, whoever made that for Quinn. Playing offensive line with that same brace is a little bit different, right? You got to use that ankle and plan and drive off of it way more than the quarterback does. So I'm interested to see if he plays, how he holds up wearing that bracelet, ankle brace, because Georgia has some defensive lineman that comes off the edge pretty fast, and so he needs to be able to move and be 100%. Honestly, now he's better than most people, not even when he's not 100%, but still, in a game like today, and we also seen Trevor Gooseby, who can rise to the occasion as he did before against A&M. If you can't go, you got quality depth behind you who can come in and perform just as good as you. I'm not saying he's Kelvin Banks, so please y'all don't kill me in the comments, but he's really good.
Yeah, what I also think you're going to see, I think Jalen Walker had his best game of the year against Texas, and you got to expect him coming downhill, like kind of what we do with Ant Hill here. Like going against either Gooseby, who's not going to be ready for this Georgia defense, no matter how much Flood's preparing him for, or 80% Banks. That's probably going to be the matchup to watch. I know we on the round table, a lot of us said like Cam Williams versus whoever on the Georgia edge rush, but I think now with what Banks' health is looking like, it's either going to be Gooseby or a not full Banks going against probably the best pass rush they're going to face from here on out, if not any team.
All right.
Yeah, it's I think one of the, again, we go into it all the time, but the real issue here is going to be what happens at the line of scrimmage, because that wasn't as effective for us last time. Now, both Paul and Ian did a great job on the deep dive of breaking down what the specific issues were, and not all of that falls on the feet of the offensive line. But what are you seeing in this game? What are you looking for specifically, Coach?
Communication amongst the boys up front. I think that's going to be key. I've seen the last few games, the guys start to pick up blitz and stunts is better. I've seen receivers and tight ends actually sit down and stop running their routes and cut it off short when they do get pressure. I think that was a big thing in the past when people would bring pressure. They would just continue to run the same exact route. Now they're starting to sit in the soft zone, soft windows of the blitz and pressure, giving Quinn a target, right? The problem was he didn't have anybody to throw to, and he's not escaping most people, right? And so he would either take the sack or sack himself or try to run out the pocket. But now I think everybody's on the same page. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that versus Georgia. We saw Georgia Tech guys do it very well, right? They kept finding the holes inside the zone defense every time they run like a zone blitz. They would sit down, the quarterback would deliver. I think Quinn is a way better quarterback than my guy at a Longview. You know, I love you 903 guys, but I think if they can do that and everybody plays on the exact same page and plays together, they have a chance of really kind of destroying that blitz, honestly.
What are you seeing here, RT? I mean, how are you going to be watching this game? Are you stuck in your basement, or what? How are you going to be able to handle this?
Man, it's going to be rough, because I think this is going to be the first game all season that I've just watched at home by myself. I have something just immediately after the game that I have to get to, and I'm probably even going to have to listen to some of the fourth quarter via Craig Way on the way to a party I have. So it's going to be nerve-wracking. I do wonder, in something that I wrote about earlier this week, if some of the novelty of what Kirby Smart did the first time wears off a little bit. Obviously sending their nickel on a corner blitz that changes the game, and a couple things, just the way they use Walker and Williams. I wonder if it'll be as effective with Texas having seen it before. So that's definitely something I have my eye on. But also, it could just be a thing where Texas doesn't match up well against them. So I'm interested to see, do they just try to do the same thing once again, and does Texas just not match up well, or does the novelty wear off and does Texas handle it completely different this time? So
where do you land on that, Coach?
I
mean, I want you to just rip RT apart, because he was brave enough to put out a take.
Yo, look. I really agree with that take. The problem is, I think that Georgia showed so much the first game. We've been preparing for what they may show. Now they can just bluff it all day. They can come in, show pressure, and drop out of it. They can line up 8-7 yards off and still bring pressure deep, right? So now they got you in a guessing game. Are they bringing pressure or are they not? First game, they showed you they were bringing pressure. They really didn't disguise it as much, except the late switches. Now they can bluff it. So now you think you're getting pressure. Mentally, Quay's like, okay, here they come. And then they drop out of it, and they're in the passing windows, and they pick the ball off. So it's a mind game. I don't think Kirby has the exact same game plan. I think it's going to be more of a bluff, a lot of bluff calls today. He's going to bring pressure. I think he's going to bring it from different ways this game and give you some of the same looks, but they're going to play a completely different defense. And so how well do we adjust to that is going to really be key, especially early on.
But I did rewatch it earlier this week. Finally brought myself to rewatch the October game. I'd seen highlights, but sat down, courtesy of our guy Nash, and watched the whole thing all the way through. And I might get raked over the coals for saying this, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. And I really felt like that it slipped out of our hands so early, in that I think that it just got away from us. I compared it to, you're trying to carry all the groceries in from your car, and when one bag falls, everything falls out of your hands, and the field position played a role. But I even thought the Trey Wisner, on a few drives in the second half, he was running downhill, and the offensive line even looked like they've looked in the past few games against Kentucky, against Arkansas, against A&M. So I do think there is opportunity to run the ball, get in way better down and distance scenarios this time, and not get in these just unmanageable third and longs that really allowed Kirby and his defense to just tee off on Quinn like they did in October.
Yeah, I think one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough in that first game is Georgia put up 30 points with 238 yards total. I mean, that is pretty indicative of some high quality field position that they're getting, right? And so I think hopefully if we can flip the field on them a couple times, we'll have certainly a better chance of all of this. I want to get to your comments certainly in the chat. I want to thank everybody for being here. I especially want to thank our Georgia brethren and sisters that are here talking to us in the chat. We really appreciate you being here. It helps a lot. But let's hear from our sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors.
This is the start of something fun, the kind that's best had outdoors, where family gathers, an adventure awaits, the good tidings that make for even better times, and with the right stuff at the right price. The most wonderful time of year happens here. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
So let's we've lost Coach. Let's get into some of these comments here, because I want to start with one that is, well, I'm assuming from a Georgia person, and that is Brian Brown. And his statement here is, get ready to cry, Texas. And my question to you, RT, is when was the last time you had a really good cry?
Timothy Chalamet being on game day this morning. I can't think of a Timothy Chalamet movie that would have made me cry. Maybe it was when I saw Manchester by the Sea. Casey Affleck and Timothy Chalamet, they kind of look similar.
Sure.
Yeah, I cried pretty hard that day. So,
well, Brian, I will say, just for me on a personal note, it was The Wild Robot. It's a beautiful film. I highly recommend everybody get in there, especially if you're a parent. It's really hard not to appreciate the artistry there. So let's get into some other comments here. This is a question. I'll start with you here, Coach. What packages, this is from our friend Kevin, what packages will they have for Arch? Just run or throw plays? What about a dual QB package? What do you the dual QB packages? Look, we don't want both of them hurt. So I don't know if we want to put them both out there at the same time. What are your thoughts there, Coach?
I think you can get a little bit, especially in the red zone, some of what you got at A&M. Except Arch can really, really throw the ball. So they may Arch come in like, okay, we got a key on his run. He either, this read option, then he pops up and throws it. So he just makes the defense really, really think. I think you have to throw him out there just to throw the defense off. We've seen him struggle last week versus Haynes King, right? At Georgia Tech. They couldn't figure out read option, power read, anything. And so, not saying you want to run Arch all the time, but he has the ability to throw. So why not throw it out there? Like, you have nothing to lose. This is all for the marbles for the SEC championship. Throw everything at them. Make Kirby call a timeout because he's like, okay, I don't know what they're doing. And then you can run Quinn back out there and made him waste a timeout. So please put Arch out there. Have a package together. I'm sure Sark does. And so we'll see if he uses it.
Let's not forget. I mean, Arch throws bombs.
Oh, sorry. I just want to add also that one of my biggest pet peeves is Landon's here. And just all of football is these QB packages. I watch Michigan. I watched the Steelers. That's my NFL team. Back with Savion Red, where there's no threat to throw, and it's just a power run each time. I absolutely despise that. You have Arch Manning out there, like you were saying, LC. He can throw those bombs. If it's 4th and 1 at like the 50-yard line, it should not just be a power run. That's the only play call. It's got to be a full package where Georgia has to think about what if they throw it all over our defense and go for 6.
It really could be the example of like sorry, Landon. Okay. The ultimate long con that Sark has been building truly for years, because if you remember, he never even threw out of the Wild Roshan package. So, I mean, I guess he clearly felt better that he was getting Arch Manning, and he believed when no one else didn't. And so maybe he was doing the Rojo package all those years, Rojo being a high school quarterback, just to build the long con, and he's going to throw it today with Arch Manning. So we'll see.
There's a big call in the chat to put Arch at tight end. It might happen. I feel like we've guided the chat off the rails, and they've gladly gone with us. So, Landon, welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, man. It's much better in here than it is trying to play golf in 40 degrees and raining. So 10 out of 10, don't recommend that. But
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people really empathizing with you that you get to play golf on a Saturday and then watch the SEC championship game. You're really playing that violin, bud.
Yeah. You know what, man? I used to dream of days like these, and they're here now. So here we are. Let's go.
We got it looks like I'm checking on this Big 12 game as if it's in any way significant at this point. But 45-19 currently, Arizona State. I don't know the actual box score here, but I believe Scatabo had 450,000 yards rushing and 74 touchdowns. Not done the math on that.
Mike Allstott 2.0.
Yeah.
Dude, Allstott, man, that's what we need. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That dude's different, man. See people bouncing off him like it's crazy what that guy does.
Yeah, no way he's 215.
No shot.
They made that one up.
215 in a bowling ball frame, I guess. I don't know.
What year is Scatabo?
He's a senior.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. That
lots of former Horns on the Sun Devils, though.
Yeah,
that are winning the Big 12.
Prince Dor was over there too. Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's a lot of former Longhorns playing in championship games. They got a ton of SMU too. I think it's something to it. You want to win, you better come shopping at Texas.
Well, I think it does speak to the recruiting eval, right? It doesn't just because you're leaving Texas doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad player, right? You're probably a very good player if you ever made it on the roster to begin with. So I think it's great to see former players. I know Sark was talking about Murphy and what he did at Duke this year. It's great. I think it's a positive thing that they have built a culture around making sure that these guys get where they need to be.
Yep.
What are you seeing in this one, Lando Show?
I heard somebody mention getting raked over the coals a second ago, and I kind of took a bunch of heat, especially from obviously the Georgia side of things too. I'm still sitting here trying to prepare myself not to cry. I saw that comment as well. That's difficult for me, but honestly, though, yes, both sides in this first matchup turned the football over. I've seen that comment be raised, countless times, dozens of times, and at least in my own specific comment section of the preview that people took exception to. Where you turn the football over matters.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it's well documented the first 17 points of the game. And you can even take it a step further. The first 20 points, 85 yards accumulated, total amassed yards for Georgia in that first matchup. The first 17 points, they had to go 60 yards. So the odds of that happening again without a running game are still not very good.
Right.
Now, Texas rushed for what? How many yards rushing that football game?
I want to say it was like 29, something like that.
In the 20s. Okay. The last 4 SEC matchups, they're averaging 210.
Sure.
Now, nobody's expecting them to go rush for 210 yards on this Georgia defense. But if you meet somewhere in the middle, if you can average 4.2 to 4.5 yards per carry, this Texas defense is going to have them in position to be exactly where they want to be in the fourth quarter. And at that point, it's depth is the difference, as kind of I've been preaching. I think we're going to find that out with Trevor Gooseby again today. I don't expect Kelvin Banks to play, but it's really take care of the football and can just pound the rock, man. You gotta, these defenses that pride themselves, like, Texas leading into this first matchup with Georgia, they figured out, or they were trying to skate by essentially with using the quick game and the passing game, the swing and screen game as an extension of their run.
Right.
Found out very quickly. You can't out athlete teams like Georgia, right? They're up to par with you. They possess the same level of speed that teams like Texas do on their defense, right? So you can't out finesse those teams. The teams that can fly sideline to sideline, you want to set the tone this way, and Texas has the ability to do that now. And so just the outside zone game is everything, because it also allows Quinn the freedom to get, the boot stuff comes off of that. And that's how you dial up your deep shots. If I'm Georgia, the blueprint was set, right? And we watched Vandy try to implement that to the T, which is firing the nickel, right? Pressuring Quinn, because with these pro style balanced offenses that Coach Sark runs and has a lot of very high level of success with, it presents a ton of problems if you allow them the time to beat you and put your second and third level of your defense into trouble. And so the way that you combat that, and we've seen teams like Georgia eliminate the threat of those. Like you can minimize substantially the effect of Coach Sark scheming things up and threatening the second and third levels if you just heat them up. And there were communicative issues up front, right? We struggled with communication, picking up the blitzes and things like that. And that wasn't just the offensive line. That's running backs, that's tight ends, that's receivers and all that. Another thing, things that we have learned from that first matchup, okay? Receivers, whatever you're told to do, if you see like the first sack of the game, they fired the nickel. It was technically the corner to the boundary, the short side of the field. He fires. Quinn was not expecting pressure from his blind side there. In the future, though, Ryan Wingo in the film room all week that week, I guarantee they're hammering it in. Coach Coleman and Sark and everybody else, right? They're saying, look, when your guy fires, coach can attest to this. We talked about this last week. Football 101. Your guy heats them up. Your preconceived route is no longer. It's no more. You have to sit. You have to become a target immediately for your quarterback. Throw it right behind where the pressure comes from. So those types of things that we've seen not only Quinn be able to recognize quicker, but just the offense as a whole, right? Everybody sort of figuring out and learning from the prior mistakes that Georgia exposed for us. It's a good thing in a lot of ways, right? You fail forward, and that's what Texas has done. They've relied on this running game, and it complements the best defense in the country very well. And I feel like if they have that same level, that same mentality that they took to College Station last week, right? Yes, Georgia flies all over the field, east to west, laterally. You're not going to out-finesse them. Okay, let's go punch them in the mouth. The same attitude, the same mentality that you had last week, the same attitude and the same mentality that you had 2 weeks ago when you ran the football. How many times in a row, Coach? Evan, RT?
13, I want to say.
There you go. Was it 18 straight? 15 straight? Something like that.
Around there, yeah.
It's a mindset, right? Yeah. You're Texas. Number one recruited class in the country. Just poached the number two player in the state of Georgia, right? It's a mindset. So that's just kind of where my head's at, man. It's all about complimentary football now, and with or without, you're not going to see Texas turn the football over 3 times in their own territory again this week. And when that does not happen, let's see how this game plays out.
I want to go to the super chat. We really appreciate you doing that. We've got about 1,300 people on here with us. That's awesome. Most of you guys are over at Twitter. Come join us over at Inside Texas Football on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe for us. But our friend AR has dropped $4.99 in the super chat. And he asked, do you think PK and Nansen will keep up back or use the same game plan from October? RT, what are the odds here we're going to use the same game plan from October?
I mean, the same game plan from October was pretty effective, but I don't think you're going to see the same thing again. I think he's going to be more aggressive this time. That's what my gut tells me. I also think at the time that the October game was played, a lot of guys who were playing their best football of the season hadn't really come around yet. We didn't see Trey Moore playing like he is. Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton have really both come on late. So I think they're going to be huge difference makers. And I don't think you can say that someone as talented as Colin Simmons has hit a freshman wall. But I do think he experienced a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season, and he has really come on strong. So Barron Sorrell was a freak the first time we played Georgia. He was all over the field. That's one thing that really stood out on rewatch. So I think those same matchups are going to be there that worked advantageously the first time. And then I think you're going to have the benefit of you just have several guys who are playing a lot better now than they were 6 weeks ago, whenever this game was.
Yeah, I was just bringing up just a comparison. What I did earlier this week was kind of looking at what were the last 5 games for Georgia after the Texas game. And to be honest with you, they've remained pretty consistent. Especially if you take out the Massachusetts game, they're averaging around 30 passing attempts a game. I mean, they're staying with their system. They're not really mixing it up. They're staying consistent with everything. I mean, it is pretty incredible when you look at what Georgia was able to do this season and then what they did against Texas. I mean, they absolutely brought the wood against Texas, and it was a very, very different game than what they did the rest of the season. And I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. How I know, Evan, you've got an anniversary today. So how are you able to pregame with your anniversary?
Making it sound like I'm 15 years married. No, it's an 18-month, which most people don't even celebrate. But that's how we are. It's a pregame, you said, for today.
Yeah, how are you pregaming? This is a pregame show. What are you able to you downing bourbon? What are you doing?
Yeah, I actually got the vodka right next to me here. It's right off screen. You guys, once the Academy ad rolls out, it's 2 shots down the gullet, and we're out of here.
Really,
no,
that's the way to do it.
We had our fraternity semi-formal last night, so that was plenty of pre-gaming for me.
The thing that post gaming now at this point, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
we're getting pretty
recovery.
Close to it.
Yeah, it is.
I want to take a quick second and again thank our people at Academy. It's obviously the holiday season. Academy is a great place for you to go check things out. They got the perfect gifts for the whole family. Academy has you covered. They've got everything from outdoor cooking, camping gear, hunting, tailgating, family gathering essentials, all of it. So And you can also shop your own way at academy.com or in-store and find the best brands at low prices, no matter what fun you're looking for. Academy has it. So Academy also makes it easy with 1 hour in-store or curbside pickup and same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. So Academy Sports and Outdoors, you have fun out there. I know Lando, like baseball player, he's going to want to go maybe get a nice mitt and maybe a duck blind. I mean, you can do both of those things in this store. So it's a good pickup for you, Lando.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, jack of all trades, master of all of them. That's Academy Sports.
Right.
There you go.
All right, Coach. I didn't get to see you on the round table. So give me some score predictions. We're on the back nine here, getting ready for kickoff. We've got less than half an hour left.
Well, you know, I gave my score prediction, and man, the comments were not pretty.
Well, that's good. We're about to light them up again. So
yeah,
let the fine people know.
Right. I try some reverse psychology, man. Look, I said Georgia 27, Texas 20. Right. I need some reverse psychology. I've picked Texas every single game this year to win. So I'll try some reverse psychology. I don't know. I said Georgia 27-20. So I don't know, man. I know the chat's about to light me up because I'm a Longhorn over here picking Georgia to win. But
no, you got to go with your gut, man. You got to be honest.
I'm gonna go with my gut. And that previous question he asked, I do think Texas is more aggressive because those receivers can't get off press. They're not real receivers. They're just athletes out there. Make the windows even tighter for Beck to throw to. He already gifts the other team. It's close to Christmas. We need more gifts from Beck, right? Show us some interceptions. We need gifts. We need presents. And we make those windows tighter and not give him any pass lanes to throw to. And he's going to throw more picks, right? So get up and play aggressive because the thing that if anybody looks at Georgia, when you stop them, they can't do anything else. They start throwing quick screens. Last game they played Texas, they threw a couple of those and made our guys miss in space. So why not get aggressive, get up on them? Take that away too. They can't run by you. They can't run routes. They can't catch. So make them earn everything. Don't give them the little quick screen passes. So I think we're more aggressive. But, yeah, I got Georgia up, winning 27-20. And, yeah, I'm prepared for what the chat's about to say to me.
Death, Taxes, and Q being able to make me smile and chuckle every time he mentions a comment in the pregame show. I appreciate him every week, every single week.
RT, you are a published author. What is going to be the story of this game?
Texas used to be a republic. Georgia used to be a penal colony. That's all you need to know.
Wow. All right. It's some, I appreciate that. That's really, this is probably the most brevity you've ever exhibited in terms of storytelling. So I appreciate this sudden concision that's overwhelmed you.
Well, Baracho said in the comments that we were being too serious. So, there you go.
No, I appreciate that. We do get in a little. See, the thing is we get in trouble for sometimes not being serious enough. So Mike G's got Georgia 27, Texas 20. So you've got some people here, Coach, that are on your side.
I see. Yeah.
All right, Evan. If you had one question to ask Sark, what would that question be?
Oh, that's a good one. This is definitely not the question I would ask, but I was thinking about when we were talking about the Arch packages. Is Matthew Gold going to get a pass attempt this game? Because that would be a sight to see after the Oklahoma one. My biggest one is how is Isaiah Bond getting involved? He's frankly not been the real big playmaker that, at least in the last 5 games, that you'd have thought he would have been for Texas when he came out of the portal. And I think he's been dealing with that nagging injury, but there's, the blocking efforts that are a little subpar from him on those outside zone plays. And he just hasn't really hit those home run balls that you're hoping for. So I'd love to find ways to get him into the open field. Slant routes are a great way to get him moving and active. I want to see a deep ball, of course, but how much that can you ask from Quinn? I don't know. That comebacker against A&M really, it looks off. Something about that route was off. I don't know if it was a miscommunication. I don't know if Bond had the wrong steps, had the wrong signals there, but he can't be doing that in a game as big as this. And I think he has to be someone that really gets unlocked here, because Wingo, as great as he's been this year, he's hit a little bit of that freshman fall off, and he's a true freshman. You can't expect him to carry this offense. And I think Helm's solid, Golden's solid. You're going to get the strong work out of them. Wisner's going to be strong in the run game. The big wild cards are, can you get Blue in open space? Can you get Bond in open space? Is DeAndre Moore going to add something to your game? But I think Bond's the biggest one to look out for.
This is talking about Blue, and Helio's bringing this up. The question, if you were to ask Sark, will Jaden Blue get a rushing attempt tonight? Now, for those of you playing at home, the reason Blue might not get a rushing attempt tonight is why? Why would he not get a rushing attempt tonight, Landon?
Because why would he not? I mean, he's going to, but just watching what Quintravion Wisner's growth as a ball carrier has been able to do, it's been a shot in the arm for this offense, right? And it's just allowed, like I said, it's a play on when you can sort of it's not necessarily ball control, but when you can be physical at the point of attack with teams the way that they have been these last 4 games in the running game, it just makes everything easier on your quarterback, right? And it allows, like I said, the outside zone and the play action, deep shot, the boot game off of that is sort of the foundation of the Steve Sarkisian offense. But to answer the question more directly, fair or unfair, the reason why he wouldn't would be because he's had issues taking care of the football. And Quintravion Wisner has done the best job of the tandem, or the trifecta in the backfield right now, the top 3 guys on the roster, of not doing that. So that's the low-hanging fruit answer. But I expect Jaden Blue to touch the football early and often in this game, and especially as a receiver, right? We saw him be very effective as a pass catcher, isolating some of those their linebackers and just having them move backwards a little bit, right, on their heels, and trying to run with a guy like that. He moves like a receiver. He is a running back on the roster, obviously, but he moves and catches the football the way that a receiver would, like a slot receiver type. So Jaden Blue's a problem whenever he has the ball in space, and I would not expect Steve Sarkisian to not be anticipating allowing him to do some of those things for you tonight.
We got we've got some Georgia people in the chat. We really do appreciate you being here. Go ahead and throw in the chat, guys. What are your keys to success? How is Georgia going to win this game? Let us know. I mean, we want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think, Coach? With all of this, we've talked about certainly how communication needs to improve, both at the line and certainly picking up those blitzes. But let's talk about our defense a little bit. What are the keys for our defense in this game, especially specifically, obviously, when dealing with, as you pointed out, maybe some of the drops that the wide receivers for Georgia have had? They've had some slippery fingers recently. And then also, how can we affect Beck in his game?
Honestly, this defense has done a great job week to week just being themselves. Don't try to play outside of yourself just because it's a bigger game or it's for bigger stakes. Do your job the way you've done all year. They haven't had any busted coverages or miscommunication issues all year. I don't expect that this game either. I think this game against Georgia, we just need to do a better job of tackling in space. I thought the first game we played against Georgia, we would let those guys catch the ball and then wait for them to make a move. Versus everybody else, once they catch the ball or anything, we're attacking, we're hitting, getting balls around, hats around the football. So I want to see the exact same attitude and everything against Georgia, right? Because last game I didn't think we got that until maybe fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, where we were really trying to rally and just hit them. We let them kind of dictate and hit us, right? It's kind of like you go to a bully's block and find out, like, oh, maybe I'm not the biggest, baddest bully. Maybe there's another one over there. And so I want to see this defense be who they are and who they've been all year, and take it to Georgia's offense, up front, linebackers, and in the secondary. So it's gonna be good to see. I'm just hope these guys just play within themselves and do their job. Don't do anything. You don't have to do anything special. Just do your assignment. And alignment and assignment is the name of the game. Honestly,
it's really cool. One of the easy things to do, even if you're just, this is not a sign of disrespect whatsoever, but even if you're just a complete casual, right, and you just love the pageantry of the sport. Okay, watch the Texas defensive 11. Before the ball is snapped, just watch them communicate together. Watch the way that they talk to each other, and you'll understand what coach is talking about just as far as playing within themselves. And you'll see them do crazy things. Like in this first matchup, right? I think Andrew Makuba had the first interception, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of where I've been going back and watching so many different plays and things like that. But he completely vacated. So it's match 3. That's kind of the foundation of this defense, right? He vacated his man. He saw that he was no longer part of the progression.
Yep.
He stopped in his tracks and went back to go and help. And so Carson Beck technically didn't make the wrong read there. It was just a fantastic play from Andrew Makuba to go and do that. And Michael Taft has done the same thing routinely all year. Right. This Texas secondary is just, they're so, like, none of these guys necessarily are going to, like, you're not going to, Michael Taft's an NFL football player. Andrew McCool's an NFL football player. The list goes on. Jelani McDonald's an NFL football player. Obviously, Jahdae Barron and Malik Muhammad are both potential first-round picks, right? But the defensive back, like the safeties in particular, like, you're not going to see Michael Taft go and Xavier Worthy his way into just record-setting performances in the Underwear Olympics, right? But that dude wins right here. And so it's the communication, but then just understanding where to be and having that, just, man, and knowing where to line up and understanding your assignment, and then being so sound technically with your assignment and your position that you also have the ability to help out your brother next to you. That's just, it's so cool. It's been so fun to watch. And I'm just, like I said, man, like Coach said, you ain't got to do nothing special in this game. Nope. Go play football.
That's it.
We're getting some questions about Etienne and certainly Banks. I want to go ahead and we'll bring this back up. We showed this at the beginning of the show, but this is the injury report that was released at 1:45 Central. Etienne is not listed. For those of you just listening at home, Etienne is not listed. Kelvin Banks is listed as a game time decision. From what we're seeing from our people, it looks like Kelvin has warmed up, but I'm not necessarily sure if he is properly suited up. So we will see. I think the expectation here is that certainly Goosby is going to start and have to. I mean, honestly, let's not forget Goosby played against an NFL player last week, so it's not like he's coming in here cold. Goosby is a starting left tackle at many programs in this country. And the fact that he's backing up an All-American first-round draft pick doesn't necessarily speak poorly of Goosby. So we expect big things from him. Obviously, he doesn't have the reps, but he's certainly going to get a challenge today. And there's no doubt that the defensive cabal that lives in the coach's room at Georgia will have some things planned up for him, because it is a murderer's row of defensive minds there. RT, you've been sitting very quietly over in the corner there, and I really appreciate that. You have not in any way curled your mustache, and I'm curious, is that something that you enjoy doing, curling your mustache, or are you just showing some race restraint right now?
I come from a long line of mustache donners, and really, what I usually do when I'm thinking really hard is I pick at it and I kind of do this motion. You know, a lot of time I got that many a time when I was in high school and I was, trying to talk my way out of something. Things are going south for you when the mustache starts getting picked. So I've just been trying to, keep my hands down so that I'm not tempted to do that. So,
well, you've got some fans. That's good. Coach, have you ever played the mustache game?
No, my don't grow like that. It may hang over the lip a little too much, and I got to cut it because then I might bite it while I'm eating. So no, I can't get my mustache like that whatsoever. But it looks cool on RT over there.
Did you, and this is really important content, so I'm really appreciating you guys sticking around for this. So, Evan, shortly after Top Gun 2 came out, young men just decided that mustaches were the thing that had to happen. I'm curious if you fell into that trend.
It wasn't Top Gun 2, but at one point this summer, I told myself, this is going to be the only time you could even try to do this.
Your time to shine.
Like, if you're going to be on TV ever, you can't have a 2-month mustache, and my hair grows blonde on the right ear, so it did not work. Facial hair does not agree with me, so I'm going to be sticking with the baby face for the next however many years.
Let's call it 30.
Okay, let's shoot for a little more. But
so for those of you playing at home and don't know, our young Evan here is the president, CEO, and I believe Grand Czar of the Daily Texan. I don't know your title. Tell us what the main vibe is over there at the Daily Texan going into this SEC championship.
Well, believe it or not, my last day was on Thursday, but they still got me working for editing all these articles that come in. Over at the Texan, not a lot of sports fans, but in the sports section specifically, a lot of confidence. We have a lot of people traveling there. Actually, we have 2 people covering the game, and then a few just going as fans. The Texan is a confident group in the Texas Longhorns. Apart from our advisor Peter, he's been working there way too long to ever have confidence in Texas. So, but us young people, I mean, the vibe in campus is. I mean, it's a rematch that they aren't going to have, like Landon's been saying, 3 turnovers in their own territory. Why can't Texas win this game? Timothy Chalamet thinks they can, and he seems to know some ball. He was listening off Jacksonville State. And, I think the campus vibe especially is Texas is winning this game. They're winning the SEC.
I don't know what happened to your mic there. It sounded like you were about to announce the starting for the Kentucky Derby, but that's good. I'm glad that Timothy Chalamet is is in the mix here. Chalamet went to an art school in just outside of New Jersey, for those of you playing at home. So I think he's done a pretty good job understanding the game. What, Coach, going into this, I'm getting some texts here that Etienne is in the game. They're thinking he's going to play today.
Yeah.
What difference does a player like that make? I mean, he's obviously a phenomenal football player.
Well, we kind of saw him in the first game. He has the ability to make people miss in space. He has great vision. He'll find the cutback lane, which we saw him do multiple times versus Texas in the first game. We saw it on the touchdown where he made some guy miss and he cut back and broke through a couple arm tackles and then dove in the end zone. We saw him in the little sweep to the boundary where there's not much room, but he found a way to navigate. Like, he's a special back. Not as good as maybe as his older brother in the NFL, but Etienne especially, he can catch out the backfield. I think he just gives them another dynamic running back versus playing the freshman, right? You don't want to play a freshman in this game if you don't have to. So he just provides that experience. He's played in big games before, but he's just a special dude with the ball in his hands. And so he has the ability to affect the game in multiple ways. And so having him back, I think he said out the last 3 weeks, recovering from rib injury. I wrote about him today as the key players to watch. And so for this reason here. And so, yeah, he gives him a threat to be able to run the ball. If they would have ran him more first game, he probably ends up with over 100 yards, but they didn't run him as much for whatever reason.
We want to, again, this is what's been really fun for us in this pregame is seeing all of our new SEC friends. We've got some people from Georgia. We've got some people literally saying roll tide in the chat. So good for you. I'm really happy that you're here. And if you are here, go ahead and join us at InsideTexas.com. We are running what we call a silly season sale because it's absolutely buck wild out there. We've had the early signing period and obviously going into the SEC championship game, the selection show is going to be this Sunday. So you're going to get a week of, let's call it high quality content. That's exactly what it is for $1 American dollar. And we would love for you to join us. So please join us over there at InsideTexas.com. For those of you on the Twitter sphere, and that is most of you, we really appreciate you being here. If you do make your way over to YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. That really does help us. We're trying to buy our young Ian a minivan. So if we can get a few more people, that might be good. Because that kid procreates. I don't know how many children he has, but we're upwards of 30, I think, at this point. So it is it is a challenge here. So yes, this is a huge spot for Gooseby. This is something that we're all looking forward to seeing how he plays. And let's be honest, one of the things that hasn't been discussed up to this point, and frankly, I'm really proud of us. And I'm going to throw this over to you, RT, just because I love the timbre of your voice. We haven't talked about number 3. So what has to happen with Quinn today? Quinn is the sometimes maligned quarterback that plays for the University of Texas, in spite of the fact that he's done phenomenal as a quarterback at the University of Texas. What are your thoughts on Quinn today, RT?
I think he's going to play great. I think that I think the first Georgia game is the only time that I would say that I've ever seen Quinn rattled. And I think that was a very uncharacteristic performance. We've seen games where he misses throws and, he can't hit certain routes on the field, but actually being rattled or being flustered or even losing a little bit of his even keel demeanor and getting really low. That's really the only point that I think that I've ever seen that, maybe besides his first year starting, going to Stillwater. But even in that game, he kind of rallied towards the end, and then the drops all decided to hit. The case of the drops decided to hit. So I think he's going to play well. He plays well when his back's up against the wall, and I think he and Sark know how to win with this team. And hopefully after last week going into a hostile environment, a neutral site game isn't anything to get super stressed out about. And I think he's got a lot to prove, and I think he's a competitive person. So I'm excited. I'm excited for him.
I want to thank Quentin for throwing $5 into the Toyota Sienna Fund. That's really great. We appreciate you doing that. Guys, Monday Live, I had a conversation with our very own Drew Kelson in which I disagree with him wholeheartedly. And we were talking specifically about the Icy Whites. The Icy Whites are a mod that gives you easy 10 extra horsepower. It's badass. So we're in the Icy Whites. I want to hear your thoughts on the Icy Whites, Coach. I mean, it's clearly a distinct advantage. We all know that when you're in that uniform, your 40 time improves. How much better are people going to be in these Icy Whites?
I think it's what Deion say, you look good, you play good. You play good, they pay good. Right. Maybe you get a little bit of that feeling, right? It's just a little superstitious because Texas was the home team, but they chose to go Icy Whites, right?
Yep.
So maybe it's a little superstition with that. You want to look good. When you look good, man, just something about it. You come out the tunnel with a little extra pep in your step. You're feeling good about yourself. I'm going to go out here and dominate. But it doesn't matter once the ball is kicked off. You don't even care what you're wearing, right? It doesn't matter at that point. Now, for the fans and everybody else around that, it matters. But for me, pregame, it feels good in my Icy Whites, all right? But after that, it's like, kick the ball off. I don't care what I'm wearing. Let's just go. You can put me in my practice gear. I'm going to knock your head off. I don't care what I'm wearing. Let's go. That's how I feel about it.
There's something subconscious about it too, and I agree with Coach everything that he said, and I understand completely when you're a competitor and just a business-like mentality, the way that Drew was referencing earlier this week, right? But there is also something about you want everything. Like, this is a business trip, right? It's a road game for Texas. I know they're the home team, but this is a road game. Okay, so in Sark's mind, and then maybe in the mind of the players, right? It's 2024. It's much different than the early 2000s even. But it's just something about that subconscious level of, okay, this is the same exact approach. Everything is the same. This is business as usual. Every road game that we've played in so far this season, this is what we wear. This is what we do. This is how we rock. This is how we look. This is how we feel. It's just keeping everything the same. Nothing changes. Business-like approach. And so to me, that I'm just a overly analytical sports psychology guy, but to me that it matters, right? Keeping everything the same, nothing different. The only thing that changes is what they call this game, the SEC title game. That's it. Outside of that, nothing is different than this approach.
RT, can you please just tell them how insane and asinine they sound? The Icy Whites are a superior product and are clearly going to.
I don't disagree with that either. Just for the record, I agree with that.
Good. What are our thoughts on the Icy Whites there, RT?
I said on Monday when we had this conversation with Drew that when I picture Texas losing, it could even be a game like last year's Sugar Bowl where we were playing in the Icy Whites. But in my mind, bad dreams when I see Texas losing a game, they're wearing the orange jerseys. And I love burnt orange, one of my favorite colors. But I just, when I imagine us winning, it's in the Icy Whites. When I picture us losing, it's in burnt orange. Like I said, I've never seen us win the OU game in person when we're wearing burnt orange. So I feel better in the Icy Whites. So if they're doing it for me, that's enough.
Richard Millie's.
It's a very expensive watch. Ryan, hey, listen, Ryan, we really appreciate it. You're always just an absolute stud here. So I heard Sark took the team to the ice box in Atlanta wearing iced out Richard Millie's if we win. It's probably what I would say a good $8-9 million worth of watches that you're going to be putting out there. So good stuff. All right, Evan, we haven't heard you lament on how badass the Icy Whites are. I think it's important that the world knows how important the game is in comparison to other games when we're in that Icy White.
Yeah, I think it's just less important to Texas when they're wearing orange. Unfortunately, that the whites are just what really gets everyone going. I don't think there's anything that's like truly does change for Texas. But I'm so with RT here that like I imagine Texas losing in orange. That is what they lose in. It's 11-0 in the last 11 true road games. And I think Landon makes a good point. Like that, there is that kind of killer mentality, the walk in your trap, take over your trap. And absolutely. They're in Georgia now. This is a road game. I wrote about it yesterday. That's how Sark's treating this. And that's probably how they should be treating this because they're superior on the road. They're probably the best road team in the nation. So I will say though, LC, to go with you a little on this side, I think it's got to be the coolest. ICS is the perfect way to describe these uniforms. They have to just be the most elite uniforms when you see them in like edits and videos, things like that. They just all those hype videos. Derek Ochoa at UT, the production team, does a great job, and it's just like the Michigan, the clash of the maize and the blue and the white. It's just perfect. Get a little Italian chef kiss.
We want to once again thank everybody for being here, especially those Georgia fans that are joining us. It's great. We love your commentary. We appreciate you joining us in the chat. And for our Texas fans, always, this is your show. We appreciate you being a part of it. We have a big one coming up. As soon as the clock strikes 0, come back and you're going to get our post-game show. We're going to have Homer there with the rest of the squad doing all the things that need to be done to tell you about what happened and give you an opportunity to lament, to celebrate. And again, we want to thank you for watching the Inside Texas pregame show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. From the rest of the lads, we really appreciate it. Hook 'em. Have a great time.